I would be very careful, even as we accelerate our green energy transport system, we will never be able to replace. That will have to take place depending on how prices evaporate. Let me give you the example of Brazil. Brazil produces a lot of ethanol. In Brazil, you can have a flexi fuel car and you can decide on the day that you are going to a petrol pump whether you want to fill 50% with ethanol or 50% with petrol or 80% and 20% depending on market prices. So what we are witnessing in India is that we are going in terms of urban transportation from a total dependence on petrol and diesel to a very quick movement in terms of biofuel blending. I gave the example. We are already doing 10% biofuel blending. We had a target of 20%, which is for 2030. We are bringing it forward to 24-25. And there are already people in my industry I'm meaning the oil industry, who tell me that if we are able to do 20% biofuel blending by 24-25, why do you want to stop at 20%? Go further. Equally, I mentioned, so biofuels will become important. Equally, I also mentioned that as international crude prices were very high, you know, in March of 2020, we had a price was down to $19.56 a barrel. From there, it went up to $100 plus. But at that point of time, people started making an autonomous shift to electric vehicles. So I gave the example in 21-22, one figure I've seen, $1.9 billion came into just investment in electric vehicles. You know, the battery, the storage, the entire ecosystem. First 9 months of this year, $900 million already there. So $3 billion in less than 2 years. Equally, I find very interesting thing, our movement on producing ethanol from agricultural waste, from bamboo. Sugar we are already doing, 85% sugar we are doing. But they are coming in also from maize, from other feeds. Equally, green hydrogen is really the name of the game. So I would not say replace, I would say that a parallel system will come up. And frankly, international prices of crude, which are pretty what, they're 90, 92 just now. If they were to come down to 60, 70, a lot of people would continue to use their existing vehicles. But look at the remarkable progress that was made, for instance, in bringing the cost per unit of solar down. It was to be about 25 cents a unit. We brought it down to 3 cents. That is the beauty. Now, this is what you're doing in vehicular traffic. But then Mr. Jaideep produces, through him, all the metro systems, the metro lines are increasing. Our ultimate objective should be that if a person like you or me wants to go to work, we get out of the office, have a small mile connectivity, get into a metro station. In any case, it will be 1/5 the time, because today our roads are chock-a-block full. Even though we are saying we want to move people around, the fact is because people have purchasing power, they're buying vehicles. Now, I gave the example of those expensive vehicles, you know, those are well-to-do people indulging themselves, but even others, people who are middle class, it's good, it's a human tendency. Let me buy a two-wheeler, let me buy a car, if not a new car, it's slowly we must be able to accomplish the psychological transition to say that you can own a car, you can own a Ferrari for all you know, but the point is, indulging yourself is one thing, but the public transportation, public policy must not be of moving vehicles around. Earlier, people used to say that India is a reluctant urbanizer. The rate at which people move from rural and semi-rural areas to urban areas is very slow. But you know what has happened is that rate of urbanization has autonomously gone up. Today, if you look at the last census, which was I think the 2011 census, we had about 30% people living in urban areas. By 2030, when the United Nations completes its work on sustainable development goals, the number of people living in urban areas in India will go up to 40%, which is about 600 million people at that point of time. And one figure which everybody is using, by 2040, it will be 50%, which will be 800 million people if our population keeps growing at that rate. Look, there are 2 or 3 things. One is that the Prime Minister's schemes, which are both urban and rural places have to become more attractive. They are becoming. But it's a slower process. Meanwhile, what happens is people move for livelihood. I mean, there's a simple statistic which will explain this to you. Excuse me. Excuse me. Madam, you are blocking the way, please. No, there is something very simple happening. What is the contribution of agriculture to the GDP? Because the traditional presumption is that people who are dependent on agriculture will live in the villages and in rural areas. That is changing. Now, other forms of employment other than agriculture or based on agriculture. You know, it can be food processing, it can be energy related. And that process, I know a lot of people, but these are individual cases, trickle yet. The movement from rural to semi-urban, tier 2, tier 3 cities, that's a torrent. The movement back will take place. I mean, this is a global phenomena. But in terms of time, I totally agree with you. We have to make that, but the government is doing it. What is the government doing? If you look at the kind of support which is being given to agriculture, you know, minimum support price, the support to fertilizer, but also to the agri-based industries, etc. So, we are the world's largest democracy, point 1. We are also a totally free country. Madam, when your name was called out, Rani, you could have been from any part of India. You could be from UP, from Punjab. The minute you started speaking, I realized you were from Kerala, okay? But we will reach a situation tomorrow. I mean, I am sharing with you something which I discovered last evening. The place where I am staying, all the people who are working there were either from the northeast or from Uttarakhand. So, India is a free country. Anybody can go and stay. I mean, a lot of Malayalis used to go to Dubai to earn, you know, to better their economic prospect. Now, other people from other parts of India are coming to Kerala to better their prospects. So, this is the process which will continue. But I think with the kind of mature and far-sighted policies that the Honorable Prime Minister is following, the kind of rejuvenation that the rural economy, it's already, I mentioned some of these support systems to you, but people also. I mean, it's a question of the minute you provide. We had a president called Mr. Kalam. I used to work for him. He had some scheme called providing urban amenities in rural areas. Providing urban amenities in rural areas. You are seeing that actually being accelerated now. But as I said, I was today talking about 2047. By 2047, you will be a developed country much before that. Once the per capita income increases, you choose also then probably not to live in a, the way my friend Mr. Kejriwal has created pollution in Delhi. You probably live, I would rather live in some part of green Kerala, which air is cleaner and, you know, you can enjoy the nature better. Strikes at the very heart of what is called Revdi politics. You know, Revdi is freebies politics. If you listen to my friend Mr. Kejriwal, who is, he's got a gold medal at the last Olympics for promising freebies, he will say, make the metro totally free. And what are the arguments he will give? He will say, you make the metro free, you save on pollution, instead of 65 lakh people, 90 lakh people will travel and everybody will be happy and, you know, no tickets, nothing. This is one set of arguments. But then I mean, luckily Mr. Kejriwal doesn't have to run the metro. I mean, Delhi government is only responsible 50%. But as a minister in charge, I ask you a question. How did Delhi metro start? We took a loan for 27,000 crores from JICA, the Japan International Cooperation Agency. Loan has to be paid back. Because we are paying the loan back, I was able to expand the Delhi metro now in the National Capital Region. It is running at what? 390 kilometers? 390 kilometers. Nationally, it's at 810. Ask Mr. Kejriwal what he does with something which is under his charge, Delhi Transport Undertaking. It is a sanction of 11,000 buses. Only 3,000 are applying. Before every election, he will come around and say, I'm getting new buses, I'm getting new buses. I have been Minister for Urban Affairs for 5 years. I've heard this story coming. Meanwhile, the fleet size has gone from 11,000 to 3,000, and most of those 3,000 are also not functioning. Why? They don't have money for spare, nothing. So, affordability is a determination you make. Our Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, was once addressing a gathering. I was present there. He was at Varanasi airport, railway station, Kashi station, and he asked people, which train do you prefer to go by? You know what they said? We prefer to go by Vande Bharat. But he said, isn't that more expensive? They said, yes, but it is faster, I get there quicker, I am able to save money, etc. So these are determinations good management will take. It's not a populist decision. It is an efficiency-based decision. And I am very sure that the state governments, whether it is here or elsewhere, will, in pursuance of that philosophy, take the correct decision. Actually, I got trolled for it after that. Some of them said they are losing more. But I mean, I was in an interaction, informal interaction, and yeah.
Is there any chance for an increase in fuel prices?
No, it's like this. Today, I'll tell you what that day they were asking me the oil companies are ready to some, like this kind of fake news that goes away these days. Somebody, no, I saw a screenshot where the company had decided to reduce the price. They were not talking about increasing. So I turned around then and I said, look, my worry is that the oil companies are still losing. Today I saw a report in the newspapers, one of our oil companies, which is HPCL, has a second quarter loss, very large. So we were saying that what we need to do is make sure that the oil companies are compensated for public service. You see, what happens is that they can determine the price, I don't. And they work out so that the consumer price doesn't go up. Like for instance, in India, at a time when in North America, the petrol price went up from 43%, 43%, Canada, 46%. India, it only went up 2%. So if your question is, will petrol prices go up? I don't think so. I don't think so, and I don't think they should. But that's a decision they will take. But we have to compensate them from the government side for the heavy recurring losses that they are encouraging. No, the prices will not go up. I don't think so. That's not the mood just now. Now the mood is for everybody to lower the prices. Because I think this is the 15th conference. And 2008 में शुरू हुई थी ना? It started in 2008. So during the 5 years I've been a minister, I have attended conferences where Lucknow, Nagpur, where else? Delhi, mostly in Delhi. Because Kochi is a very good candidate for that. Why is it a good candidate? Kochi has demonstrated in a short period of time since the metro started, a seamless urban transportation. Not only metro, the roads, everything, etc. And the current, kitna 20 kilometers? 27 kilometers of metro, you're already carrying 80,000 people a day. The next phase 2 will be what, 11 point something kilometers, so it will go up. So Kochi is a good story. Plus these conferences are designed to also bring people from India and outside to share their urban transport experiences. So I think Kochi is a very good choice for that. Well, see, I'll tell you, Smart City project started in June 2015. But we rolled out the smart cities in installments. I think the first installment in June 2016 was 20 cities. Then it went to another 20. So we completed the rollout of these cities, I think by 2018, January, February. Now, the most important thing in a smart city, if I may be allowed to say, is the establishment of the Integrated Command and Control Center. And I'm very happy to inform you that I used to say that by 15th August of this year, all 100 should be done. They were done. All 100 smart cities have integrated command and control centers. Now, depending on when a city was, you see, it is not a design which the center produced. Every state government had to, it was a competition. So like saying if there are 5 of you sitting there, you have 5 different cities, you Send your proposal. Normally we tried that each capital city should become a smart city. At least we tried. And I think we've accomplished that now with the Northeast, after the Northeast. And then your proposals, your designs, your projects were evaluated and they were awarded. My sense is that by the time the 5 years of the last 23 of 18 February are over, we will be completing all. There are different stages of completion. For instance, in some, the completion rate is about 60%, 70%, other this thing. You know, you must make, so that the acceleration completion rate is very high. But you must also take into account that during a 5 year that it takes to their 2 years plus was a lockdown period due to COVID. So making that allowances, I would say it's a very, very commendable rate of implementation. I'm not carrying the statistics, but I don't know if you may have the statistics. I'll just show it to you. Kerala smart cities, I'll tell you. There are two of them, Kochi and Thiruvananthapuram. Kochi, total cost is 1,385. The other one is 1,386. Kochi is done quite well, 691 crores spent. In the other one, Thiruvananthapuram is a little slow. And I would say that implementation status cost in crores, 27 projects in Kochi for 941 crores. Work completed is for 722 crores, pretty good. In the other one, it's a little slow. As against the 927 budgeted, it's 311. But there's, you know, these are implementation problems on the ground. I want to see if I have a national, do you have any national figures, smart cities mission, if you would? I agree with you. No, I agree with you. But the point is that's precisely what we are doing. But you cannot have either or. I'll tell you what. Where you have ridership of 65 lakhs, as in the case of Delhi, which is going to go up, transported over a massive area, one point to another point very far. You need the buses to provide the network within that, not to substitute. So you need both. Insofar as viability, loss making, don't go for that. Don't fall for that too easily. That is, if you are following a traditional method of looking at your economic returns, basically you got so much of a loan you took, you borrowed, and then you invested it in there. And then, you know, but you know, there is revenue can be raised other places also. Revenue can be non-core sector revenue. For instance, I encourage my oil marketing companies. I said, have you ever traveled in Europe by road? When you go to a petrol station, some of them have Michelin star restaurants. People actually say, let's go and spend an evening, not by going to a city restaurant, let's drive out by a few kilometers and go it. It's an experience. There are amusement parks. So if you own a lot of land, why not convert it? So I have started that change in thinking. I'm a little because I don't get that much time. I tell them when I take a review, they've all brought in the big name Subway. Idea is not to produce a cheaper version or a same version diversification. Idea is to produce something that acts as an attraction. Insofar as buses are concerned, I come back to what this gentleman just asked in terms of viability fares. If you want to run a bus service, whether a small guy is running it or a big guy is running it, if it is going to be free, then what you will have is guys getting on a joyride, all these people sitting at, I have nothing today, no camera work, let's go on a ride and let's go there. But somebody has to pay for it, yeah. Now, we buy equipment. We give money for equipment to people so that they can use it to avoid pollution. You buy equipment for 63 lakhs and you spend 28 crores in advertising it. So look, that kind of populist politics you have to put down. Exactly. So what I'm saying is, some of the, it's a very fascinating question. Bus manufacturers came to me. They said, we would be very happy to demonstrate electric buses to you on major routes. And I said, what can I do for you? He said, do nothing. Allow us to ply those buses so that people learn the value of that. Because consumer choice is also very interesting. You know, when the Prime Minister started the Udan scheme, Ode Desh Ka Aam Nagarik, which means for the common people, people were skeptical, saying, why would they go by plane? Today, I'll tell you something. When we, during the pandemic, when we had the price cap below and higher, more people were traveling by air. Because, and I'll tell you, if I have a choice, and we peg the fares, we peg the economy class fares at second class AC level, you would be surprised on the kind of choice who was exercising. People who are not. So I should joke with my colleague, the railway minister, give me a little more time in civil aviation, I'll take half your passengers away. But this will go on. But we have to do both. The metro system has to go from 810 forward, and I think Jaideep and I will go on having this debate. By 2047, we'll be really utilizing the full potential of not only urban transport and metro, but buses also. Yeah.
Just to insist that in the UMI also, we should give a lot of mind.
I agree with you. But giving money is not the issue. You need a vibe. You see, I'll tell you, you come up with a good project, there's no shortage of money for it.
Exactly.
But you see, what they used to do earlier, as a paise de do, karega. He was neither able to run the bus service nor do that. Do it on an economically viable model. I don't know. You know, if you ask me this kind of a question and someone in the budget provision, how many state, I don't carry the statistic. Smart cities I carry because I'm urban minister. I'll tell you the whole project is, I think, 202,000, no? 205,000. We have got 100 mission cities, 7,704 projects worth 181,451 crores are already grounded. It's a hell of a very good implementation rate. Instead of 205,000, you've already got 181,451 crore grounded, which means as a percentage, this is pretty high. Project grounded, how much of it is grant, how much work completed, etc. All that is pretty advanced. I'd be happy if you want, we can share these statistics with you also. They are being connected. Yesterday there was a function, not yesterday, it was the day before, where the Honorable Prime Minister handed over, how many? 3,024 economically weaker section. No, I'm coming to that. 3,224 flats, and there was joy all around. There was joy in terms of the beneficiaries. The only newspaper in the country which had a contrary report was the Hindu, which said that your correspondent went around looking for people who were dissatisfied. So he went and found someone. So I told the DDA to issue a press release pointing out that there is a process. You have to be eligible, that you have to pay your share, and then you go on. It's not something, so if you want to indulge in what I call that brand of journalism, I'm best friends, all of them, the owners of Hindu. But, you know, how is last mile connectivity done? I'll tell you. First, you have a station at a particular place. That station then caters to a catchment area. So you work out how many population people are coming from where. So you then try and get, as you have done, bus services from there to different points of time in the catchment area. And the speed at which it is being done is remarkable. And the proof of the pudding is not, you don't have to take it there. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, which is, today the metro ridership has gone up to 65 lakhs, pre-pandemic. So the point is, it's an autonomous process. If you get into sequentiality, that you will first put the last mile connectivity, then people will travel, it doesn't happen like that. Including the three-wheelers. So today, let us say you get off any metro station, and give an example, for instance. You get off at the house car station, okay? That line is running in one direction. You have to go, say, 2-3 kilometers here and there. You have immediate availability. You have three-wheelers. If you are very smart, you can have your Uber. You could have, Uber can be waiting there. You can wait for a bus to go there. So it's work in progress. But as this gentleman here who said, if you have 810 kilometers, it's something you must have done right. Because without last mile connectivity, it won't work. I have a ready station to be inaugurated And I said, wait a minute, unless the roads outside are done, I don't want to do it. I would want to conclude for the simple reason that I have a flight to catch.
Okay, you have a question?
Yes, madam.
Can we expect the third phase for Kochi Metro, that is to airport?
Yeah. Where is
We have not received it.
Huh?
We have not received it.
No, as my colleague tells me that we have to first receive the proposal. Thank you very much.
Sir, about the new parliament building, which was,
Yeah, new parliament building, I'll do a separate one with you on that. I go there every week. All I can... No, what is the issue? What is the question? I'm telling you the work is going on at a very fast pace. We have something like 4,000, how many hundred people working around the clock on it. But whether the date will be X or 10 days later or 5 days earlier, those are announcements the government has to make. All I can tell you is the line minister, it's proceeding very well. And when you come there, I will show you around. Like on Kartavya Path, some of you were doing, what will happen, green cover will go, jamun trees will be uprooted. All those guys who were generating that false narrative, they don't show up these days. They hide. Because I'm given an open invitation. All those 106, educated people who signed that letter saying green cover will be gone, jamun trees will be uprooted. I have an open invitation. When I took the press there, including your friends, colleagues, I said, aren't you going to ask me about the jamun trees? So they had a good laugh, sir, we can't because you're standing under one in full bloom. So what we say, we, the sense of responsibility we deliver. Thank you. I think let's go.